to the Global Eye podcast episode 12. Today we are honored to host a truly inspiring force in the world of technology and leadership. Yes, she is Shweta Mahendra, Vice President at Geo Mumbai, an author, traveler, storyteller, and, of course, a fashionista. From a small town upbringing in Uttar Pradesh to shaping the future of artificial intelligence, immersive technologies, and digital ecosystems, Shweta Mahendra's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. She is not just a technologist, but a thinker, a mentor, and a voice for ethical innovation in an ever evolving digital world. In this episode, we dive deep into her story of resilience, her breakthroughs in AI and emerging technologies, her reflections on personal challenges, and her powerful belief that technology must always be guided by empathy and conscience. Join us as we explore the mind and mission of a leader who is not just adapting to the future but actively building it. Shweta Mahendra, welcome to the Global Eye, ma'am. And first of all, let me tell you, you are looking gorgeous.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, like we all know you now. First question is out of syllabus. Like, I just want to know how are you feeling because you are featured in a global book and as an inspiring woman. And it is like in the world everywhere, people are reading this book and they are finding you in the first page. Shweta Mahendra, you are not just a technocrat or technologist. You are an author, you are a traveler, you are a storyteller, narrator, what not. But being featured as an inspiring woman in a global book, how are you feeling?
First, I want to thank you, Masmi and Griffin Publication, for considering me. I don't think like I deserve it because there are so many inspiring women I see in my life, and every day I think even you are an inspiring woman, and so it's a good feeling. Obviously, it is a good feeling, but thanks to you.
Shweta ma'am, your journey begins in a small town in Uttar Pradesh.
Yes.
What did ambition look like to you as a young girl?
Ambition was a dream for me because I didn't know what ambition is all about. It was an invisible thing for me, and but I knew that I belong to a broader world rather than a small town, or is my birth at a small place cannot confine me.
Indeed, indeed. And ma'am, like you have spoken about quiet boundaries. When I have read your stories, it's not that you are only featured in our book. I have read your articles. So you have spoken about quiet boundaries. What were those, and how did you challenge them early on?
See, those were invisible boundaries again, because nobody tells you you need not do it. You feel it. Unspoken things. Every time I saw some boundary or some limitation, I have not seen it. I just keep moving, and when I reach at the end, I used to feel there is no boundary.
And मैम was there any moment ऐसा कोई तो moment defining moment होगा आपके life में in your childhood that made you believe I can do anything because when I see you when I read you I always find that spirit in you मुझे ऐसा लगता है आप बोलते हो I can do actually you can do anything so what was that defining moment.
I was supposed to be a dumb kid. I used to play, and when I entered in my sixth standard, before that, I have never been to any school. So 2 years or home of home study, I topped the exam. That time I thought it is such a small thing, just 2 years, and I topped means I was thinking, how is it possible? So sometimes we think the problem is big, but it is not big actually. We don't try.
Indeed. And choosing engineering in the 1990s as a woman was rare because
Yeah.
if we read, if you see the data also, there were rarest of the rarest girls, we see them in the IITs. So, was resistance, what resistance did you face? Did you face any resistance?
No, not that kind of resistance, but yes, my father wanted me to be a doctor, and I registered that I can't be a doctor. I will do a Bachelor of Arts rather than being a doctor because I'm afraid of blood. So that was the reason. I was having no choice. So, and I was good in maths and numbers. So that is the
Yes,
reason I have chosen.
you are good in numbers. That I know very well. So, like you once said, getting into IIT is easy. This actually, I want all the youngsters also to see this, the young students also. You said getting into IIT is easy. Staying there is the real challenge. What were those challenges? And I also want you to answer this in a way that today's Gen Z or today's generation, when they hear, because IIT means the parents also they say, "Arey IIT mein jana hai," but it is a stressful thing. The term itself, IIT, and the students they close themselves behind the doors. So, like, and you said that no, it's like it's easy, but staying there is difficult. Can you explain this?
Yeah, there is unwanted pressure over there. Once you enter there, you are competing with all the brainy people, filtered people. You are not in that number of lakhs of students appearing for the exam. Those people have already crossed one milestone, and there is a lot of discrimination at the IITs, which causes these societies and all. One description comes with the caste bias, which I want to touch over here. I have seen, I have realized in 90s also, and I'm sure today also it will be there. Second thing is about the background.
Okay.
Like I face challenge because there were the students and like from RK Puram, Delhi, from convent schools. So they feel that they have come from third world, right? And they feel other make other Hindi medium or the state students like a second class students, and they make their own lobby on group, and they keep the other people isolated in the campus. So they feel like we are unwanted. Do we really belong to this place or we are at a wrong place? So,
Okay.
like it's different at IIT. It's easy to go, and parents have high expectation.
Indeed. So you had to face that.
Yeah. So in Aeneid, Virgil tells that the world only, it survives. So I was like that. I've sat on my own things. I went into isolation, and so many things happened actually. It's
And
tough.
it's tough. So staying there is tough.
Yes.
How did being in a male dominated environment shape your personality and leadership style? Because today also we have this, male dominated society, but we have fought a lot. But during the 1990s, where IITs were regarded as okay, only a few like girls could be there. So did you also feel that, you faced this challenge, and how did that shape your personality and leadership style?
Yeah, like I say, leadership is not about authority. Leadership is all about presence. So you need not afraid of the crowd. You're not afraid of the colleagues. So if a girl is having a confidence, is standing among 60 boys and attending the class, that make you strong and that develop you as a leader because you are leading yourself. You are one person army. You have to
Yes.
encourage yourself. Yes, you have to. You have to stand here. People are going to make all kind of nonsense comments on your clothes, on your looks, the way you talk, but you have to encourage yourself that I have to stay there. This is the society. I can't run away from here. So that is the thing, I became bold, very bold.
And that's what we see you today, Shweta Mahendra, the leader. And from Reliance in 1996 to
Yeah.
assistant vice president at Geo today, what has been the most defining turning point in your career? I know your
Yeah.
career is not limited to Geo. When I see you, when I know you personally, but here, the most defining turning point in your career.
You see, Geo, I joined in 97 in Reliance Industries Limited. The one good thing about this company is there is no limitation. If you want to do something new, you can do. Nobody will stop you. There are no boundaries. Today also I do so many things which I want to do. Nobody will, stop me why you are doing this. So that kind of environment, I felt it is like growing environment. It add in your growth. So that's why I stick to this place also. And there is very good thing about this company is, you know, you don't feel like you are going to office.
Okay.
I enjoy, you look forward that I will do something new which I want other than my routine work. So that kind of independence I got at my workplace, and a lot of support from higher management, and the healthy environment for a woman. And like my son was small, I got all support. That's why,
Okay.
I could continue so long. Half the girls of my batch have already quit the professional life.
Okay. And you say AI is all about empathy. So I've read
Yes.
also somewhere you have quoted AI is about empathy. Can you explain that philosophy in a world driven by data and speed?
Yeah, like you are creating something for human. So, what is human? It is not about the tools, about creating some videos and all. It is about how it touch the human life, the consciousness. So, don't we are not making something because we have to make it. We have to think: should we make it? Will it help or will it harm?
Right.
Right? You are seeing nowadays the drones were invented for the good of human, but now in war,
Yeah.
you know it is the weapon. So have we invented the drone for weaponizing the world, or for the good for human? So that's
Very,
why I always say that everything you invent, you have to answer yourself, should you do it?
very rightly put forth. And this example, I really liked it. Drones, I know it was for advancement. Now we are using in the war. So
Yeah.
rightly put. And what does technology with conscience? Now you spoke about drone that it was for technical advance, but now it's used in war. So what does technology with conscience mean to you in practical terms?
Conscious, like, you have to think. You just can't make something for the sake of making it. I am again repeating it. Like, you are making so many videos right now, right? Even Elon Musk keep posting so many videos. You can do grok from this and this. And there is one story I want to quote over here, Greek story, Pygmalion. I will just say in short.
Yeah.
In that, he saw, it is a Greek story of that island, Cyprus or somewhere. And he saw that society is ruining and the women are getting corrupted. So he told that I won't love any woman because all women are corrupt. He made a marble statue. He start loving it. Then he prayed with the god that make a life in it. She makes the life in it. He started treating as wife. But one day the statue asked that who came to life. You loved me, but I have not loved you. You created me. I have not asked to create me. So those kind of things, the virtual life, the robotic companion, all these things, I don't believe on this. I don't believe. I'm into technology, but it's still, I'm against it, the robotic companion and all.
So nice to know you are into technology, and you are today speaking, I'll not say against, but yes, you're speaking the negative side of technology, of course.
Because when I read the philosophy, I get that kind of, vision, like what it should be, what should be, what should not.
Indeed. And ma'am, coming to your personal battles, like you must have fought silent battles. Definitely in the IIT, definitely from a small town to IIT. But there must have been certain silent struggles. So, in moments of silence and withdrawal, what helped you find your way back? Because when we see you today as a very strong lady, we just want to know what did you do to fight back?
Yeah, so solitude gave me time to introspect my inside, my strength. Sometimes I cried because I'm lonely, But then somebody told me, like, I met one of my classmate. I told, see, I'm so alone. I don't have friends. Then he told me, he's at very weak post in US now. I don't want to name him. So he told me, now, do you think that all these are friends? It is all show off. Nobody is no one's friend. And he told me about his own experience of his close friend. That time I knew that, okay, matlab everyone is alone. It is only, from outside we think they are true to each other, but everybody is ditching everyone. This world is like that.
And one question out of syllabus, I do not know, you must be expecting or not. IIT, your son also is into, like, he is also a student of IIT. Is that in the genes, or like
No,
he got inspired by you? Like everyone
no,
in the IIT and everyone is doing well.
no, it's not in genes. It's an, unseen pressure he would have faced actually, because his dad is also from IIT Delhi. So what happened one day, I told that, Are, you are from IIT, that's good. We never pressurized you to clear IIT and all. He said, all the time, I see you and dad, what would I feel? You know, that day I came to know, oh, he felt that kind of pressure. Until then, I was thinking, I'm a cool mom. I don't pressurize my son like other parents do. But it was existing pressure, he told me one day. And he told me his school incident, that all the kids in IIT were talking that, okay, my mom was pressurizing, somebody's dad was pressurizing, that's why he did it. Then he told, but I was having no option to go anywhere, because for me, I will open my eyes and I will sleep. I was under the pressure. I was having no way.
Okay, this is the first time I have heard this existing pressure act.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's not the genes, it's the existing pressure. And to prove, you have to do better than your parents. The kids, Gen Z is like that. If you have earned your, assets 10 times, they want to do 100 times. They don't tell, but it is in their mind. We
okay.
should not take them lightly.
Yes, indeed. So I just wanted to know, like, it was always a curiosity. Everyone in IIT, like, definitely, like, okay, it's not in a gene, but existing pressure. This is also something. This is something new. I heard that yes, children also feel that when they open
Yeah.
their eyes. And like, you are a thinker, you are a writer, you are an explorer. Your interests span Greek philosophy to Egyptian cosmology. So, how do these ancient ideas influence your modern work? And how did you get into this actually? How did you develop this interest?
No, it is, see, these things are not developed. These things are behind your subconsciousness. So when you are in solitude or you are alone, you keep dreaming the things. Like, I live in a metaverse, I always say. So
Yeah.
these things fascinate me. And whenever I see something, like in childhood, I saw a picture of pyramid or the Trojan horse. Then at that time I thought, is it possible that someday I will see this? A small town kid, 6 7 years old, seeing the picture and thinking, I want to see these things. I don't want to read. I want to see. So I want to see everything. So that is the reason I travel to ancient ruins of Crete and Jordan, Egypt. And every time I go, like, I feel like I'm not learning. I'm revisiting these places. This is not learning. This is like memorizing something which I forgot.
And how did writing, come into you?
It's a surprise. I also didn't know I can write. And
And you are an author of 2 to 3 books. Tell
yeah.
us about your books, and especially Many Visions, Many Worlds, because I have read it personally and I love that book. And what inspired it? First of all, like, what inspired you to write? You are also surprised, but you are an author of best selling books. So, what
Yeah.
inspired? How do you feel as an author?
Yeah, so when I wrote the many visions, many words, I used to see many people, petting their own tabs, like, we did that thing great, this thing great. Then I used to think, ki, are we great? You know, our ancestors were more intelligent. We are faster. but we are not more intelligent than our ancestors, right? So we are smarter and we want to take all the credit. So I thought, let the credit goes to the our ancient civilizations. That's why I wrote the book, because this is a layered life which we live. So we it's not a linear. It's not like that something happened and now we are starting, we are moving forward. No, we are living in a parallel world where the things have already happened, and we are trying to redo that in different manner, in faster way. That's it. That's the reason I wrote that book.
And what about the travel log? Like, okay, visiting ancient places, yes, I know, but visiting Northeast, Assam, and then writing about that when you are in Mumbai, how did that happen actually?
Because when my son was studying in IIT Guwahati, that time, every time I used to go to meet him, I used to go to one destination: Manipur, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Arunachal, and Assam. Many times I have been. So I thought the people are different over there. People are very different. They are not street smart like Mumbai and Delhi. They are innocent, and they are satisfied in their life. Even if somebody is earning 20K, he is happy. So I used to show, I used to ask, are you happy? Don't you want to earn more? No, no, no. I want to stay here and I am happy. So that's the thing, I said ki happiness doesn't need money, and these people are so naive. And they used to help the way they used to help. They used to talk. Like, I stayed in a hotel, that owner became my friend. She used to come to, just talk to me in the evening, that I like talking to you. So that ownership kind of proud was not there. I am owner of the hotel and all. She was very big shot and all. So I thought ki people are so simple over here. She is driving scooty. So I like the people of Northeast. They are better than Mumbai and Delhi, that I can say.
And how do travel and introspection shape your worldview as a technologist?
Yeah, like I see the world differently. I look that technology is everywhere. Everyone is struggling to do something better in technology. Like AI came. Sam Altman started the chat GPT. And sometimes I feel how it is possible that everybody is getting the same thought at the same time. You
Right.
know, Gemini came, Grok came, this came. So, we are just in a, in a race which will never end. People will join one company, they will go to another company, everywhere in the world, every day. But what is, fix is the ancient civilizations and their, inventions. Still, we don't know how they did it. Like we say, still, we don't know who made the pyramids. So, so that things keep me grounded. That before you do proud in doing something great in technology, look at this, answer this.
Right. And like you actively mentor women.
Yes.
So in many fields and areas, I'll come to that. But what is the most common struggle you see among young professionals today?
They are not able to balance the life. That balancing is missing. They are confused and they don't know what they want. And they have created their own boundaries. And I don't know why they are sometimes scared of doing the things. They think they show that they are very strong, but they're not. They are fragile. So they need someone to support them, to validate their views. So that fear I see in
And
the woman.
you have also challenged. Do you see
Hmm?
still, women have this? We are so much advanced. We talk of women empowerment, and still that fear is there. Do you see that fear still alive in the women, or this term called women empowerment is just a term?
I don't feel that anybody can empower anyone. You have to introspect and find your power within you.
Absolutely. And yes, so you have challenged traditions like caste, as you spoke also, you must have faced in the college, you said, so caste expectations, dowry, was that a difficult stand to take?
Yes, because mine was the first intercaste marriage, because I have flagged like, no, I'm not going to do the traditional marriage, the dowry, and so many restrictions. The people ask me how to, cook the poha, how to, I don't know what kind of recipes. And I was like that, do you know stitching? Oh my God. So I was like that, oh, I have to come out of it. I have to break this. So, and these things were non negotiable for me, my identity and my preferences, my freedom. So I went against the society.
That's what makes you a leader today. And you divide your life into before 40 and
Yes.
after 40. What
Yeah.
fundamentally changed? I can't see any change actually. You still look 13, 30s. So, this is a difficult question for me also to ask you. But you have divided life into before 40, after 40. So, what fundamentally changed?
Yeah. Before 40, I was in making, and now I am becoming.
Okay. Okay.
So, like, Dante's Inferno, the Dante one starts like in the mid of the start of the journey, mid of the journey. I am in the darkest forest, and he descend to the hell to rise up. So I went to the hell. Now I'm trying to rise like Dante.
And before asking, I just want to ask, ma'am, you are a fashionista. Uh, you carry the fashion, what Gen Z also fails to carry today, actually. You design your own dresses, you have that sense of design, art, and collection of sarees. Uh, Superb, actually. How did that come into you? You are a technocrat, you are a voracious reader, writer, and fashionista.
No, it is nothing like fashion. Like, it is the comfort, and I don't chase the fashion. I want the fashion should chase me, actually.
Okay.
And this is all about love for art, you know. And as per Socrates says that whoever love for art, it is a divine blessing. So I will say I'm blessed.
You are indeed blessed. When you are talking about art, I don't know, when people come to know that you are an IITian, you are from IIT, you are into technology. Today, you are talking about art. You are in love with art, and that makes you fashionable.
Yeah, this is the art because I love the art. That's why, I love the prints. I love the colors. I love the way those colors are placed on a cloth. So it's love for art. I don't love the fashion. I love the art. I will see, like today you will see so many, fashion designers and all. Those are not fashion designers. Those are the body designers. They
Right.
show what part of body they have to show. I show the clothes. They show the body.
Oh, so nicely put forth. Right, rightly said. And like, do you feel like, ma'am, grooming is very, very important, also specifically to women? I'll not like also men, but when we speak about fashion, when we speak about dresses, attires, do you feel that, like, grooming actually in carrying a
Mm.
fashion is required?
Yes, it is very much required because the first impression, nobody will look into your heart. They will look at you, how you are carrying yourself with confidence, your confidence. Once you are groomed well, you will have that kind of confidence. So even people say, no, first impression is the last impression. So that impression comes visible, right? Not from your speech. So grooming is very
Right.
important. And currently I'm grooming few people, few politicians also. Like what they
Yeah,
should
I
wear,
need to.
which function they are going, day night, what is the crowd, so I need to groom the people.
I need to come and meet you and also learn a lot. And ma'am, your upcoming idea,
Yeah.
Vision 2099, sounds fascinating. Can you give us a glimpse?
Yeah, it is more about the philosophy. Like, I am just, it's all my imagination, which I am putting in 2099. So, unfortunately, I started from 0 hour, and there is a sirens. I will just tell you what I wrote in my first chapter. There is a nuclear attack, bio attack, everybody is running through tunnels and all. And when this happened in Persia, Iran, that time I was like, it is coming true right now. I wrote it for 2099, you know and lot many things, interplanetary life, that in that also, I wrote that first the life will be on moon, not on Mars,
Right.
and now the same thing is happening. So interplanetary life, how the rules, how the laws will be there on moon, you know because you don't need police over there, because there won't be
Hmm.
crime, there are no people. What if the food vanished on moon? Will people start eating each other? Those kind of things I will be writing. Like if there is some calamity on the earth, how it will affect the life on other planets, which nobody is talking about. Everybody is talking about the tourism,
Right.
entertainment on other planets, but nobody's thinking and working on the laws and the protocols and the ownership on other planets. So
Right.
that thing I am covering in 2099.
Waiting for it. And yes, what role do fitness, writing, and self expression play in your daily life? Because you are a fitness freak, or because whenever you go to the office, also we see your videos, you're working out, you're keeping yourself both fit, mentally and physically healthy. That's very important. So, fitness, writing, and self expression, how do these play in
Yeah.
your life?
So fitness keep me grounded because every day it challenges me. Like if I am lifting 70 kg, it challenges me. Can you do 80 kg tomorrow? So those kind of challenges I face. So it keep me grounded. Don't proud of you. You are still far. And writing gives me clarity. Like when I write something, I start questioning myself what I am writing. Okay, this can be happen, this can happen. You think, but when you write, you get more ideas. You know better. You are yourself a writer, and you have written so many books. And the third thing, expression. Yeah, expression gives me freedom. When I express myself, I feel yes, I am free.
So let's play a rapid fire round. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes.
AI or ancient philosophy?
AI empowered by ancient philosophy.
Oh, very cleverly put. Logic or intuition?
Intuition defined by logic.
Ma'am, these are all cleverly put answers. All right. And boardroom or book room?
Book room.
Leadership or innovation?
Innovation and leadership both actually. Leadership driven by innovation.
And if you are asked to choose one,
Innovation.
strength or sensitivity?
Sensitivity is strength.
How do you say that?
You know, sensitivity is strength because until you are sensitive, you don't feel like if um, I'm sensitive, if somebody will hit me up to a level from scale 0 to 10, so I will know how sensitive I am. I will feel it. If
So here
somebody
you are
make me,
nullifying my questions.
huh? If somebody make me okay, I will make you cry. This is my strength, which will measure. My sensitivity is my strength there.
Yes, nicely put. And one word that defines you.
Free word,
Free word, yes. A book that changed your life.
divine comedy,
A place that transformed you.
Egypt,
Your biggest fear. past or present anything, your biggest fear?
Death.
One habit you swear by?
Reflection.
Coffee or silence?
Silence.
Morning workout or late night thinking?
You know better. Late night.
But for the audience.
Yeah, late night.
But I will choose to both because you are also you are no less than working out in the morning. Sometimes I see you.
Yeah. I rush to office. Whatever time I sleep, I have to wake up at 7.
Right. Metaverse or meditation?
Metaverse.
One quote you live by?
Know yourself. It is a maxim at Delphi in temple in Greece.
Okay.
Know yourself. They yourself. It's by one Miletus of Thales.
Okay. And one thing you would tell your younger self?
Be yourself.
If not AI, then what career?
Philosopher.
Yes, of course, I agree. One myth about successful women you
They are
want to
different.
break.
They are different. People think they are different.
Okay.
People
And
say you are different. I say I'm not different. I'm one of you.
one of
I've
them.
crossed the boundaries. That's it.
That's make you different, actually.
Yeah.
And okay, one word for the future of humanity.
Empathy.
Your definition of happiness.
Alignment.
Legacy in one line.
Literacy.
Legacy.
Legacy. Freedom.
Wonderful. Shweta Mahendra, if your life journey were to inspire just one change in the way people think about ambition, resilience, or courage, what would you want that change to be?
Courage.
And how would courage, actually inspire?
Because I read a lot of courageous story. I I read Shahnama, the story of kings, and that gave me a different view about the Persia and Iran. I read 3 times actually. So when this war was happening, I knew it. I can very well understand their thinking, the way they thought, the way they have taken the decision, the way they believe in the God.
Thank you so much, Shweta Mahendra,
Thank you.
for giving your time, for enlightening us. And you have actually made us feel that professional milestone is different, but living with empathy and, keeping your conscience always alive and being a philosopher, apart from being a technocrat, it is actually a blessing. You are blessed. And
Thank
we are blessed because
Thank you
today
so
we are
much.
enlightened. Thank you
Thank
so much
you. Thank
for
you.
joining the Global Eye.
Thank you.
As we come to the end of this insightful conversation, Shweta Mahendra's journey reminds us that true success is not just about professional milestones, but about resilience, purpose, and staying rooted in values. Her story is a powerful testament to the idea that technology, when guided by empathy and ethics, can truly shape a better future. From breaking barriers to building possibilities to becoming a fashionista from a simple little girl, she continues to inspire us to think deeper, aim higher, and lead with courage. Thank you, Shweta, for sharing your journey with us. And to our listeners, stay tuned because stories like these don't just inform, they transform. Keep watching The Global Eye for more such powerful conversations. Namaskar.